Should I be looking to go to university, or should I study a trade if I want to get permanent residence in Australia? It's a tricky question to give you a definitive answer to. As you can imagine, every single person is different. Every single person's skill set is different. But let's look at some of the pros and cons between the trades and university. And at the end of it, hopefully you as an individual having a better idea of how it works and what will work better for you in terms of getting permanent residency in Australia through study. Okay, so study options. Now, when it comes to the trade courses that are available to international students in the trade sector, you are really quite limited when you look at what's available and what's actually going to generate that pathway to PR. Now, when looking at the vocational scope of courses, there are hundreds and hundreds of different courses that you can study at a vocational level. However, only a handful of these will actually generate any form of pathway to being able to stay in Australia after your study is complete. Okay, so those being generally the trade courses. Okay, so they have a duration of 2 years and generally have that pathway that goes on to the 485 graduate visa and the job ready program and that sort of thing. Okay, so in terms of course selection, they are quite limited. So you've really got to have your mindset in that trade and construction sector if that's where you want to be. Now, comparing that to university. Now, university, again, there is hundreds and hundreds of different programs, and just about all of these will allow you to go on to that graduate visa after you study. Okay, now the graduate visa is the linchpin, essentially, of any study to migrate program, in my opinion. Gives you the time you need in Australia after you study to work on your migration plan, whether that's skills assessments, getting sponsored, lodging an expression of interest, or having to build work experience. It's so good because it gives you time to do all that after you study. And that's why it's so important to be able to really get that, to have a very safe and structured pathway to migrating through study. So in terms of study options, trades, you are limited. Higher education, you have got heaps, but always making sure you're speaking to someone in the know, because just because you're doing a higher education program doesn't always guarantee you that pathway to PR. So really speaking to someone, working out what it is that you want to do and what you want to achieve, and making sure you get on that right path from the very outset. Okay, timeframes and duration. Now, definitely the trade courses are much faster. Okay, so you're looking at a 2-year duration, basically with 99% of the trade programs that are available to international students, as opposed to a university level program where you're generally going to be looking for a bachelor anywhere from 3 to 4 years, depending on the course and specialization, and master's programs, generally around 2 years, because you want to study for that 2 years to be eligible for that postgraduate visa that I mentioned previously. In the grand scheme of things, if duration is one of the most important things to you, the trade course definitely would win out here, simply because you can finish your course, do your grad visa, and essentially be lodging an expression of interest or doing an employer-sponsored visa or something like that within the same time frame it would take you to finish just the bachelor program. So if duration and time is very crucial, definitely maybe look at one of the trade programs for this side of things. Costs. Okay, now this is a really big factor, of course, for any international student. Not all of us are lucky enough to have very rich parents who will just pay for everything for them, and a lot of you guys are doing this yourself. So cost is something you definitely need to consider. Now, with the trade programs, okay, you are generally going to be looking at anywhere from around $9,000 to $12,000 per year, depending on the course, depending on the location, depending on the school. Okay, so 3 factors. But when it comes to the university programs, you're going to be looking at anywhere from 15 to 25 grand per year, and this can be higher than that. So there is certainly a really big difference when it comes to the cost of the trade program as opposed to the cost of the university program, because that duration factor really comes into it again, and just the more time you spend studying, the more it's going to cost you. And finally, after all this, how do I know which one's right for me? Well, guys, this is something I get asked all the time, and I'll get a phone call or someone will come into the office and want to have a chat, and they'll simply say, what's the cheapest way to get PR? What's the quickest way to PR? What's the easiest thing to study to get PR? And they are completely the wrong questions you should be asking. The things you should be thinking about is, what can you see yourself doing? What do you enjoy? What would you like to study? Okay, these are the questions I would like someone to ask me if I was going down this path, because you've got to remember, when doing any form of study to migrate pathway, you're going to be studying this program for a bare minimum of 2 years if it's a trade, 3 to 4 years if it's a bachelor program. You're going to be spending quite a lot of money and time undertaking this study. So pick something you even remotely have an interest in. Do something you enjoy. Do something you like. the best piece of advice I can give you, because it's not only the study factor, it's when you're on that graduate visa or maybe needing to build work experience. If you don't like what you do, or if you hate what you've studied, it's going to make working in that sector really challenging, okay? Because people are going to see that. They're going to see you don't enjoy your work, you don't like what you're doing, and you may not really be that employable if you're doing something you hate. So really think about what you can see yourself doing and what you enjoy. And remember, with the trade programs as well, it is very hands-on and physical work, okay? Not only while you're doing the study, but when you're out there in industry, it's really physical work, and that is not always for everyone. You might not be physically minded, you might not be that good with your hands, maybe a trade would not be the right option for you, and we should be more looking down that academic sort of path with universities. But guys, please remember, the team at Pathway to Oz is here to help you with all aspects of not only finding the right trade program, but also university and master's level qualifications as well. So if you'd like any assistance or have any questions about studying in Australia, please never hesitate to contact the team at Pathway to Oz. Thanks.